In the summer of 2018, a group of Ute elders, scientists, and Ute youth met in the San Luis Valley in southern Colorado to visit historical Ute Indian cultural sites.
It's really important to re-emphasize the significance and the critical nature behind linking both the scientific world and the cultural world together, because the kids that we're on the trip with, they have to learn how to walk a tightrope between both worlds. And we see this all the time with issues between scientific understanding and cultural beliefs and religious beliefs and spiritual practices. But in my mind, for somebody to be complete, they have to have both and understand that both elements are equally important.
This visit was an opportunity for the Ute youth to learn from their Ute elders about the knowledge that their ancestors used to survive.
When they get back, and they'll probably talk about it with each other in a way that young teenagers talk about things in their way to communicate with each other to, what did you think about that? How about this? Remember this? And it will be retained in their memory in that way. Because I remember when I was a kid doing things, I remember the fun things, and the people that I was with, they didn't lecture, they didn't say do this, do that. They just told a story, and they, according to the communication back then, the families, how they do lectures. They tell stories, and the language and the communication has already been established. So you know what they're talking about. And so you listen to them, and I think that they're going to do that when they get back home or drive back home, what they had seen and what did it mean to them.
These kids, I think it gives them a great chance for that same kind of bonding and really getting an opportunity to learn more about their own families, because they're related, and they're related to the elders, and so that's pretty neat to watch. I can see the respect and love they have for their grandfather and uncles and aunties, and that's really fun.
The young people also explored the skills that scientists use to understand the environment and history.
And you use your hard hammer, which is like a big quartz rock or like a river rock that's harder than the rock that you're going to work. And then you start, oops, and I'm getting it all over you. You start working that edge and getting flakes. You knock flakes off like this, and then you get a nice flake like that. You can work into an arrowhead or other tools. And sometimes they just use the flake, because look how sharp that is.
How do you make it soft?
How do you make it soft? So they would put this in a fire, and it was an art. You didn't want it to get too hot because it'd just break all apart. And then if it didn't get hot enough, it didn't work. But when they would heat treat their shirt or whatever type of material they had, it would make it really nice and easy to work that, just like glass, like obsidian, right? Do you know how obsidian is formed? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, and it's fast cooling from out of a volcano. And if you find something, you want to kind of leave it close to where you found it. You don't want to move it too far away, because on a site, everything works in relationship to the other thing that's there. So we'll want to just flag things, and then we'll do a little inventory and see what we have and see what kind of material we have the most of. That can tell us a lot. And then you get to take a picture and see like where the concentrations are, and maybe where someone sat and made a tool, because there's a lot right there. It's amazing what you can learn from flagging out a site and its artifacts.
It's very exciting for me to work with these kids, and these students are interested in plants. And I wasn't sure they would be, and at first I wasn't sure they were, because they're young and they like running around, but they're respectful. They're definitely respectful of their elders. They're respectful of me, and I wasn't sure I would get that. And I see in all of them interest and glimmers of interest in plants and plant uses. And I also know that by them being here and seeing all these special places to them culturally for their tribe, and part of what's here are the plants, that all this kind of connects and will reconnect them to their past and who they are.
The youth shared what they want people to know about the connections between the Ute knowledge and Western science.
You know, with the two different sides, you hear two different stories. And, you know, having scientists and, like, you know, our elders, that's what I like to call them, you know, it can be confusing because, you know, of course our elders have been taught this way and they know this way. But then the scientists, you know, like, they're like really smart and book people. I mean, just putting those together gives me a really strong story.